Good evening and welcome along to the latest edition of the Endless Celts Podcast. It's the day after Derby Day. There's plenty of sore heads in our group chat, so we've myself included, but I thought I'm part of the Monday to need to make an appearance. Anthony Bellamy, he was sensible, he wasn't drinking. Jed went home at a sensible hour, so he's a wee bit better. How are these both anyway?
Okay, fine. I'm starting to get used to this. Anthony only shows up for Monday and everyone kind of needs to be roped into it. But at least you all have decent excuses this week, guys. Can I just ask, Jed, I'm sorry, is that a ring light behind you?
What I'm in, it's my wife and my daughter's dressing room. So
you're in your studio.
They take pictures or something like that. It's my daughter's. I don't know. I don't
Brilliant.
know.
Class.
So
how's your cell, Jed? How's your cell?
I'm fine. Knackered this morning. I went out yesterday up to the pub to watch the game. It was good. And stayed out a wee bit longer than what I planned. And so I was a wee bit panicking this morning, thinking, should I really be driving? But no, it was good. Obviously, we'll come to the game and things like that. So I'm actually quite happy. So
Good. I think I will kind of get it, but I think on reflection, I've got it. I didn't really know how to deal with it after the game. It was a weird feeling. But kind of before we get out into everything, Anthony, if you can bring up the Super Six, I'll just run near that. And so Ryan Taylor seems to have made a wee boost to the top. I've not really seen his name. Joe Finlay, he's up there as well. Alistair Jark, Mark Robertson, Stephen Coltart, Kieran Kahula, I think his name is, Kevin Hampsey, Anthony Dunn, myself, then James Bowie make the top 10. I don't know if there's any midweek ones, but we'll work it out. There might be a midweek one with their Champions League football, but as I say, there'll probably be a wee prize. What it is, I don't know. It's what we'll be able to rustle up between us. But just before we kind of get into everything, Anthony, again, if you can just bring up the video that Willie kindly made up for us again, that'll just kind of explain everything. So there we have it. We'll be dissecting the game, talk about obviously the incidents and stuff that happened in it, and then we'll kind of finish off with how we see that result affects the title running and who did it better, who benefited even more from that result. But I'll come to yourself first, Jed. Just I say honours even and stuff. Just a wee, how you seen the game? How was it for you, and how you're feeling after it? Maybe we a wee 24 hours to sort of digest it a bit.
I mean, I was quite confident that we wouldn't get beat. yesterday morning, my wife, she was panicking and my daughters didn't feel good about it. And I says, look, we'll be fine today. We'll be fine. And it was definitely a game of two halves, wasn't it? We totally dominated. We could have been 3-4 up in the first half. I thought Maeda had a great chance, put it straight to the keeper. And then Butland made a fantastic save for Matt O'Reilly's header.
Aye.
And then Kyogo was unlucky just after we went 2-0 up. But on the first goal, it was just the pace in Maeda just going after Tavernier. And then the penalty, I mean, Beaton could not give us that penalty.
I know.
You know, there's no way he couldn't do it. But then the second half, I felt we sat back a wee bit. But all during the game, I don't know how you guys felt about it. I just felt every 50-50 decision was going their way. As soon as anybody went near them, they were diving. I mean, what's his name, Silva?
Bhoys Silva.
You know, he should be in the Olympics team for diving. It was unbelievable.
The one with Alistair Johnson, the first half was terrible. Where he's wrong about holding his face.
It was just poor. And listen, I hope Rangers do sign him because what I've seen him so far, he's not a player. He's really not a player. But no, I was obviously disappointed. I must admit, as the game went on in the second half, watching in the pub, I was actually getting more and more nervous. It was weird. I was saying that to the guys, and my daughter was with me as well. I said, I'm getting worse. And I actually missed their third goal. I nipped to the loo, and then it was just this noise. And I came out, and the place is just gone mental. And I thought, right, surely we're going to do it now. And I'm thinking, you know, they'll drop points in Wednesday now against Dundee if we beat them. And then, bang, they got the goal. I mean, great finish with the guy, but I felt Yang should have showed him down the line, not let him come back on his strong foot. So it was. But look, yeah, we're all disappointed we didn't win, but let's be honest. I think every Celtic fan would have taken a draw before it. It's in our hands now. I'm confident we're going to beat them at home, but we need to win the other games. But I think we'll be fine. I'm pretty confident we're going to do it now.
I know, I totally agree with you, Jed, and I think Anthony Jed makes a good point. I think a lot of us would probably have snapped your hand off for a draw at the weekend because it puts it in both teams' hands with Rangers having the game in hand. But then, if you look at it, that'd be 3 games against them, and we've won 2 and drew 1. And the draw's been at Ibrox when Clermont, the narrative is Rangers are coming again. They've got all the momentum. You would just hope, I don't want to jinx it, but come the Parkhead game, we will have the best team available to Brendan Rodgers, because first 2 games it was makeshift back fours. This game, Callum McGregor, he wasn't fit. Hatati's just coming back. So you just hope by the time Parkhead comes around, you'll have a fully fit team, and you've got to kind of take confidence in the way you've played the 3 games against them. But just yourself, how did you see the game, and just how you're feeling after it and stuff?
Yeah, much the same as I think everybody. We're kind of not wanting to use the cliches, but it really was a game of 2 halves as far as Celtic is concerned. And probably as far as everybody's concerned, from the neutral point of view, I'm sure many people would have thought that was a fantastic game. But being brutally honest, it was quite a shit game from our perspective. First half, fantastic. Second half, that was pitiful from us and large spells of it. But it was driven by a couple of factors. One, for me, the wind did play its part. And I said in the group chat in the first half, we need to take advantage, because clearly the wind direction was favouring whoever was shooting left to right, because you were running on to good balls, whereas you're fighting against them going the other way. That's not to say that, you know, that's an excuse or anything, but it does make the job a little bit harder. But then the referees, as Jed says, every 50-50 was going against us. It wasn't even 50-50s, 60-40s or 40-60s, you know, in or against our favour. Anything that was close to being a dubious, what way can you call it, it was going against us. I said I was going to come out with all the stats. Or everybody with XGs, James calm down. But something just off the back of last week, I know we've kind of gave it plaudits and credit to Alan Morrison and the Axon podcast that he did with the kind of the review and the look at the referees and all the stats that are going for. And one of the big points he made was this thing where if it's just incompetence, just random shiteness of referees, then there would be no pattern. But everything sways so heavily in their favour that you have to see the pattern, and it's not random shiteness of referees. There actually is a biasness. And just read them very, very quickly. I'm not going to bore anybody too long, I hope. All the stats in yesterday's game kind of even. 54 to 46% possession, 12 shots to 14 shots, 3 corners to 2 corners. Nothing majorly, separated the two teams. Yet weirdly, Rangers 10 fouls, 0 yellow cards. Apparently Celtic had 23 fouls. So, again, as Alan Morrison was saying, I'm not going to put words into his mouth because he's not here to talk about this specific one, but there's a weird anomaly, isn't it? That everything else about that game, so the attacking play was similar from both sides. We're in their box as much as they were in our box. Possession, we had the ball as much as they did, but weirdly, somehow, we created so many more fouls compared to that one stat is the outlier. And as you said, Jed, every 50-50, 46 to whatever you want to cut it, went against us, and that played a massive part yesterday. Massive part.
Do you think it was funny? The first 2 bookings were 2 defenders.
Aye.
Yep.
Vickers and Johnson. That was like
the mad one with Johnson as well is I don't think he's seen that because he played on for a couple of minutes because he booked him for that one where it was obstruction. It probably was obstruction, but that's all it was. It probably is a booking, but I don't think John Beaton's seen it.
But even Kuhn's, John Beaton's put in, it says it's repeated fouling. He pointed to the left back spot. It's his first foul, pointing to the left back spot as if he's been over them creating fouls. He's a right winger.
I know. It was mad.
Madness. He was very. That played a big part. I mean, Maeda has Tavernier in his back pocket every time he plays him down our left side, but our right side, with the likes of Yang and Kuhn both being on decent games and decent runs in the last month or so, I think that was quite obvious what they wanted to do there. Put that entire side with Carter Vickers, Johnson, Kuhn, and then Yang if he had to later on. It just puts them all in edge, all 3 of them in yellow cards. That whole right side becomes free reign to them because we're going to stand off because we know exactly what they're doing, diving, and we know exactly what the refs are going to do, penalties. What happened?
No, I totally agree. Totally agree with you. And like I say, we will get, because for me, I think John Beaton, that was the way he kind of influenced that game. How he influenced that game, as I say, we'll get in it later, but for me, that was what he kind of done. It was the 50-50s or the 60-40s, the shies. It could have maybe been a wee bit up for debate. It was never in Celtic's favour. It was always going to Rangers. Again, we've been talking about cliches as well with a game of 2 halves. I think it's a bit of a cliche to say, especially in these games, to get off to a good start, you want to silence the crowd and things like that. I was one of these, like, kind of just outside the group chat. Was actually when I picked up Stephen on the Friday on the drive up. I was saying to him, I would maybe remember when Lennon, just the 2-0 game with Edward and Hayes scored, Lennon just booted the ball in the corner flag for the halfway. And I was even saying to Stephen, I would do something like that just to try and hem them in for 5 minutes because you felt they were going to maybe come out and all guns blazing. So you try and get the crowd against them and stuff. But obviously Rangers try to sort of play around us. I thought our press was good for the first goal. And maybe as a wee bit lucky, Joe Hart's kick up the park. I don't think he's meant to play it to Maeda, but for me, that's why Maeda's in these games. He knows how to play Tavernier, and it is a bit of luck. There's no getting away if it's a bit of luck, but it's also luck through design at the fact that we know Maeda will just constantly run up and down that line, and I think I think we've seen it in large parts of the game that I think Postecoglou noticed it. I think Rodgers has noticed it, that as much as Maeda maybe isn't the best football player when it comes to playing against Tavernier, he knows what to do, he knows how to beat him, Jed. And like I say, it's just he got his reward really for pressing right for the start, and like I say, it was a great start we got off to.
I mean, I thought Tavernier had a relatively quiet game. You know, we, like you say, Maeda nullified him going forward. I mean, give him credit. I mean, the penalty took no keeper saving that, and it was, you know, that's his trademark. Because I said last Monday night as well, I was always a wee bit concerned with our set pieces, you know, with Tavernier putting in the ball, and I thought we defended. If you look at their second goal as well, it was a deflection, you know, and then it was just a couple of silly wee mistakes. I mean, was there a penalty? But we have been screaming for it. If it was another end, you know. By the way, a few boys in the pub actually says they thought it was a penalty. So
I don't think it was, but Wally, who I'm sure, and I would have been wanted at the other end. Don't think it is a penalty, but I think I'd have been howling for it at the other end. But I don't. What about yourself? I think we speak constantly about how Maeda in these games, what he brings to this fixture, and I thought yesterday, I'm not going to sit and say the guy was absolutely, but I thought he had a really good game forward and back, just doing what Maeda does. Even at one point, he put a blinder across in at one point, and then I think 2 minutes later he done his normal and put it in the stand.
Put a shite one. The goal kind of sums up Maeda. I've been no quiet person about Maeda. I think as a footballer he's pretty fucking shit. But I can 100% see why he's preferred and played, especially in European games, and this game against them. His work rate and his energy, and he's got Tavernier in his back pocket. It's a no-brainer, considering we don't have somebody like Jota ready to go in at the left side. Maeda's a no-brainer out of all the options we've got in these big games. He just does what Maeda does, and the goal kind of sums up Maeda to a T. That's just baffling how that goes in. It's actually more baffling how much power's in the back of that shot. It's a deflection that comes off him and it pings straight into the goal. I'm like, fair enough. That's Maeda. That's just pure instinct, luck, be in the right place. Just managed. I don't know. It's Maeda, but he never meant that, which is typical Maeda, isn't it?
I know. No, I mean, he did do it, but like I say, it gets his reward for just putting him under pressure. And wanting to be a wee bit. I think he's talked about saying that he's a terrible football player, but I think at times he does look like what are you doing here, Maeda? But I think in this fixture he was just the big park, it suits him and stuff. And I think guys like him, Kyogo, Kuhn, I thought our press was really brilliant yesterday as well. It was no like Postecoglou wasn't obviously a hermit, but it felt like Postecoglou was doing that. I think it was like Barcelona tried to win the ball back in about 5 seconds. If they didn't, it's back in. It felt like Celtic at times Jed allowed them to have Rangers have the ball in certain areas, and there was obviously triggers when maybe a certain player had it. It was like we'll press for there, or they would maybe look at the shape of the team to see if everybody's in position to press, because there's no point just one guy chasing about. And I mean, Kyogo, even a couple of chances with Jack Butland closed him down pretty good, and one of the times he actually blocked it, it went out for a bike kick. But I thought certainly first half, I thought Rodgers got the tactics spot on.
Yeah, definitely. I just felt in the second half I suppose when you're leading, you just come back a wee bit. You know, you're defending a bit deeper, and it was allowing them to come on to us. And I mean, let's be honest, even I didn't think they looked like scoring. I mean, until they got the penalty. You know, we were starting to cope with everything. But as I mentioned earlier, we should have buried it in the first half. The game should have been over. By the way, when Kyogo had that chance just after we went 2-0 up, if and it is a big word, if we had scored then, that stadium would have emptied. They would have just left, and so they would have just went boom. They couldn't have been able to cope with that. And then also as well, I don't know if any of you listened to Talk Sport today. Graham Souness was on, and he was giving Chris Sutton a bit of stick, saying he can't believe how biased he is, because Chris Sutton was basically saying it was never a penalty, it's a joke of a penalty. But then Terry, love him or hate him, Simon Jordan kind of put Souness in his place about, Rangers can't beat Celtic, Celtic's got their number. Won't beat them at Celtic Park. So yes, you're maybe pleased with the draw, but surely you should have been going out thinking to win and win the league. Where now he thinks they're not going to do it now. They blew the chance because they will not beat us at home, and I agree with that. We will beat them at home. We will beat them.
I think we kind of spoke about that last week as well, sort of the psyche, Anthony. And the longer you go, I know they obviously beat us 3-0 last season, and yeah, none of these games technically are meaningless, but in the context of that season, we had already won the league. The League Cup was in the bag. We had the Scottish Cup to look forward to, which Rangers obviously weren't in, so it was not about. It was more about saving guys then, because I don't think Carter Vickers played in that game. I think he was needing an operation, so it was as soon as the league was done, it was over. All started up front and stuff. So I don't like saying these fixtures are meaningless, but when you actually, I think it's been about, it would have been Gerrard's campaign where they've actually won a meaningless or a meaningful game. Or would it, no, it would have been Postecoglou's first season, sorry, because they beat us in the Scottish Cup semi-final, didn't they, in extra time? I'm sure in the Scottish Cup or League Cup. I think it was the Scottish Cup semi-final they beat us. So it's been a good 2.5 year anyway. And that's another game past where they've no beat us, and it must play in the players' minds, because it's a lot of that team's the same core.
Yeah, and that's maybe a lot of us haven't thought about it all the way through, but that kind of thing is the psychological advantage that Celtic not losing yesterday was key for, because it is that advantage to us. Obviously, the next game is at Celtic Park. Both teams are in the same position, and both teams can turn around and tell themselves, just win all your games and you win the league. 6 games to go, or 7 for them. Win all your games, you win the league. The unfortunate thing for one side is that one of those games is against each other again, but that's where the advantage comes to Celtic, because it's at Celtic Park, and we still have that psyche above them, and they've got that monkey on the back, shall we say, where they can't beat us in a meaningful game. They can't get better. You know, they can't beat Rodgers. Rodgers has their number. Maeda has Tavernier's number. McGregor generally has the number of that midfield, and again, he'll be fully fit come that game when it happens. So will Hatate. The only thing I have doubt in this entire thing of will Celtic win the league, will we win all 6 games, is the officials. It's the only thing that's going to hold us back, in my opinion. Otherwise, if everything's fair, we will easily win all 6 games, no question asked. But that's the psyche that we have, and that's the advantage we have over them, because they'll come into that game at Celtic Park and they'll be shitting themselves. They know they need to win that game, and they know that they really struggle when it comes to that fixture.
No, I totally agree.
I was looking today, I think the top 6 now is going to be like Dundee's going to be in. So looking at, I think we'll be away to Kilmarnock, away to St Mirren, home to Dundee, home to Rangers, home to Hearts, and after the split, that's what I think how it'll be. Now,
question there, Jed, is the Hearts game going to be home? Is it? We've already done Tynecastle a couple of times, haven't we?
We've done,
but
we'll have home and away.
I was looking at this as well.
So I'll be one.
See, as far as Hearts are concerned, they've got 3rd spot. They're not losing that. Kilmarnock, they've got 4th spot. They're not losing that. 5th and 6th between St Mirren and Dundee, let's say it would be. They're going to duke it out. Those two will duke it out to see who gets the little bit extra prize money at the end of the day. But Kilmarnock and Hearts, they've got that sewn up. They're not moving. They're not getting 2nd. They're not getting 4th. I wonder, will they set up that we play Kelly away, Hearts at home, then Rangers, and just like Kelly and Hearts boot that utter crap out of us, because you know fine well they will.
Of course, I mean, if you look, the team you mentioned there, like Hearts, Kilmarnock, St Mirren, they all have Rangers-minded managers.
Yeah.
So they will be going out their way to do one for their club. That's just the way it is.
That's what I think.
So we need to be, every game now for us is a cup final. We have to win every game. We have to get in with that mindset that we're going to win. I mean, I'm really looking forward to the game Saturday now against St Mirren. If we could go out and put on first and foremost, win the game. But if we could win the game by a good number of goals as well. We just want to put on a show. We want to put doubt in name when they got to Ross County on Sunday. So we've got to, like I say, every game's a cup final now. So we've got to win. We've got to win them. Because you can get, as you said, Anthony, against Kilmarnock and Hearts, yeah, they will be kicking us up and down the place every opportunity they get.
They will, and that's why I reckon we're going to see those two, at least one of them, but I reckon we'll see both those games before we play Rangers to see how many of them they can injure and get us out, or see if they can wrap us into a red card or something.
Maybe. I think we need, where possible, I think we need to try and take the officials out every game, similar to what we've done. Well, we done yesterday. To be fair, I know that we'll get on to how Mr. Beaton performed, but I think just where possible, like you're saying, Jed, if we can turn in a good performance, it should take the officials out because we should be better than everybody. And just to kind of sort of bring it back, we'll go, speaking of officials, I thought with the press and stuff, I thought the first, like we were dominating that game, then we obviously got the reward with the penalty and things like Kuhn puts in a great cross. I never seen it initially. I got a wee bit excited thinking Scales just maybe was on his toe, on his heels and didn't quite get there quick enough. But then obviously you see there's a VAR check for a handball, and I was sitting going, as soon as I heard the VAR check for a handball, it just tells you everything. I was like, what have I missed for this game? Because I think I went to the toilet and came back and I was like, well, they've obviously been up in and I was like, I wasn't at the toilet that long. They could not have got up our end and got in the box. And I was like going, what they checking for here? Then you see the cross, and you're straight away. You cannot say it's a handball. I appreciate it hits his elbow, but he's up like this, and he actually makes a motion towards it and everything. And myself personally, I can't remember what the mid was like at Wally's house, but for me personally, I was sitting thinking, well, everybody in the world can see it's a handball. How did they get out this? How did they get this, Anthony? And obviously, John Beaton gets sent to the monitor, and I think he's sitting going, because I'm not saying he's seen it firsthand around, because as I said, I don't think many players actually claimed for a handball, so I don't even think many of the players noticed it. But obviously, when he's went over at the monitor, and I don't know what Andrew Dallas is saying in his ears, but it's obviously saying, I don't know how we got out this one. I mean, I know he was kind of, every time he went to the monitor last, but the first one, it just looked like, it was like, it felt to me like he just sunk into that monitor going, I don't know how I got out this one.
Aye, that's exactly how it looked and it was perceived, and it's the exact same thing that happened, so we'll talk about later on with the disallowed goal. There's that realisation of, fuck, it's too obvious. You know, he goes up, the elbow's right out to the side, and clearly bangs right off the point of the elbow. It's not even like, oh, is it here somewhere? Can we use the shot line? There's no, oh, is it tucked in? There's nothing they could do. But it's so blatantly obvious in everything that's happened and been called out over the last few weeks. There's no way they could not give that. It was, you could see the realization of fuck. And as later on, you see it again. Almost, it's the same as fuck. We need to give this. We gave a penalty. We have to give the disallowed goal sort of thing. It's typical Golson as well, though. I mean, how this guy gets away with this constantly, and there's no. I mean, it's not like we can haul him up and have a tribunal about repeated offences of getting away with handballs. But seriously, how does he manage to keep getting away with it so much to the point where it's like, fuck, we need to key this one? He gives away. Well, he should be giving one away every game the way he goes.
I know, it was mad, Jed, and like I say, it's when you see it, it's there's no way they can't give it and stuff. And as I say, I don't know if I would say I feel sorry for John Beaton, but it must be strange. Like, we know he's a Rangers fan. We know where he's a Rangers guy. But can you imagine trying to put yourself in his shoes for a second when he knows he's a Rangers fan at Ibrox and he's looking at the monitor going, I'll have to give a penalty against him, right? Against the team I support and stuff. And then I say, Matt O'Reilly, where the hell has he been when it came to penalties? What's going on there? How has he not been taking one before this?
Were you confident that we were going to score?
Nah, I'll be honest, not. I'm never confident when it's a left-footed player taking a penalty, Jed.
See, I'm the opposite. I do like left-footed players because
I hate them.
in the pub, we were all saying who's going to take it, and people saying Matt O'Reilly or Taylor, both because they were left-footed. That was the thinking behind that. But my daughter, she was like, "Oh, Dad, we're going to miss this one," and I'm saying, "Will you shut the fuck up? We'll be fine. We'll be fine." So yeah, it was. Look, he took it brilliant. Sometimes just put dummy the keeper a wee bit, and then down the middle. Calm as cool as a cucumber, as they say.
Oh, it was a top penalty, and like say, for me, I think I said to Ross at the time, I turned around to him, I went, before I had it, obviously me and Ross weren't totally confident, but I was like, this, in the context of the season, this is massive, because we miss it, it gives them a wee bounce and stuff, but obviously you score it, you're sitting going, we've actually played really well, we're getting the rewards for what we've done here. And then, like I say, I think Jed brought it up earlier as well. Maida's chance was in between goals 1 and 2, where he misses it's a great chance, really. And Butland does make a good save, but he's also fortunate where he pushes it straight out, but it just doesn't fall anybody. It's one of them where in another day it might have felt with somebody. And I'm not saying the tip of tapping, but you've got another shot. Then you had the Riley header, like Jed said. I don't think Riley can do much more, and I think we actually scored 2 minutes. We got the penalty a couple of minutes after that anyway. Hattati had a couple of, I wouldn't say they were easy chances, but he had a couple of shots and stuff where they came close. And Kyogo's one, I don't know if he's just fear in case he collides with the post or whatever, but he done everything right. But I just talk about the chances and what they could have done to the game if he stuck one of them away.
Well, as Jez said earlier as well, if we go 3, they're walking at the stadium by half time, and you had the Bhoys as well. I think I had somebody mention in another podcast earlier today, it's like from minute 7, you could start hearing the Bhoys kind of starting to be audible. But definitely at half time, it was, they were booed off the pitch, which my tangent goes to show how weird they are when they're celebrating a draw later on. They're all over the place. For our shots on our efforts that first half, as I said earlier, we should have taken more of an advantage of that wind. There was a period where I actually thought we've not tested Butland properly in the first half, maybe the first 20 minutes or so. But he did eventually make a couple of good saves. He was it Kyogo the one? No, Kyogo was falling through where he's fumbled the ball at the near post a couple of times. He took 2 or 3 efforts just to grab onto it. We really needed to put one of them away. There's so many that it could have been 4 or 5 easily in the first half. But we shoot ourselves in the foot by not taking those opportunities and that chance. You can't.
I know. I'll be honest, at half time, I was saying to Ross, like, me and Ross were still a wee bit nervous and stuff, but at the same time, you're going, we have absolutely dominated them. We're up 2-0. Yes, we should be up more, but if I would have snapped your hands off for a draw, I was sky high with 2-0 in the performance. It was not like it was a smash and grab the first 45 minutes. Rangers just weren't in it, but like maybe yourself, Jed, I'll come to yourself. Obviously, you've been watching Celtic and Rangers longer than myself and Ross, but obviously we've got a wee bit older as well. And you see these games numerous times. You know how Rangers, they can't come out and play like, well, they obviously can come out and play that game, but you expect them first 10, 15 minutes of the second half, they're got to be right at it. And it's, for me, it was all about weathering that early storm. In these games, they've got to have these spells, and unfortunately, we didn't. It was a penalty so we can talk about the penalty, but just Rangers, how we just didn't. It felt like we didn't know whether to stick or twist. Rangers kind of got their tails up and got the penalty, which obviously helped with that momentum. I just think if you get to 60 minutes or something, no really give them anything, I think the whole game changes for them.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, until they got the penalty, I didn't think they were really causing us any problems. But we just went in their shell a wee bit. I mean, then they got the goal disallowed not long after they scored the penalty. But straight away, I mean, I must admit, when they went up, I mean, that's a foul. They're going to have to go back because it was a foul up the back. So again, I knew when they went to VAR, I thought they're going to have to, because it was like you could see it in real time. the boys took him out. So you knew they were going to. Well, I was very confident they were going to chop the goal off, but we just let ourselves down a wee bit. If you look at like McGregor gave the ball away as well. Yang let the boy, like I said earlier, cut back in, and like the boy buried it fantastically. Give him credit where it's due, but that shouldn't have happened. It really shouldn't have happened. And then obviously, I must admit, the last 5 minutes I was a wee bit nervous because I thought they've just got the momentum now. We get the third goal, we're 8 minutes extra time, and I was just like, just blow this final, just get the whistle blown. Just as long as we don't get beat, because like I said, before the game, I would taken a draw. Monty, you're probably right, mate. We always knew they were going to get a penalty, but listen, in the cold light of day, they know they scraped a draw yesterday, but they know they were hoping to win yesterday to put a marker down. They've not done it, and they will not look forward to coming to play us at Celtic Park. They think. I mean, also every game now, our fans have got such a big part to play. See, if a game isn't going well, we need hope. We try not get onto the players' backs. Try and give them the support. Because if we do that, we will get them over the line. We will do it. I'm like I say, I'm really looking forward to the game on Saturday. I've got my ticket for the semi-final as well. That came in today. So a few months ago, I was pretty down. I was very vocal, and Brendan Rodgers, what I thought of him at the time. But I did say as well, there'll be nobody more pleased if you're proving me wrong than myself. So, look, it's in our hands. We're going to do it.
Nah, I totally believe you, Jed. I think what yesterday showed us, Anthony, is that Celtic have got a bit. We knew they had grit and determination and stuff, but we got through tricky periods in that game, in that second half and stuff. And like I say, for me, if we got to the 60 minutes, I think we might have got a wee bit of momentum. The fans might have been a lot more agitated, but it just felt like you could see they were building up a wee bit of momentum. Their fans were behind them. I think they make an interesting point with the win, because when you're trying to maybe get out and get up the park maybe 5-10 yards with that wind against you, it might have been hard for Celtic just to kind of do that. They were maybe like, he could just get beat with a ball over the top, just on him. So maybe that was playing in our minds a wee bit and stuff. But we can talk about, we may as well go on to the penalty, because we're kind of talking about the sort of first 10-15 minutes of that second half, and it just, for me, as soon as the boy went down, I thought, well, Beaton's getting a penalty straight away. And when the yellow card was out, I was like, oh, he's booked him. I was like, at that point, I was sitting thinking Rodgers has played an absolute blinder praising Beaton, because we'd obviously had the penalty and stuff. He'd made some dodgy decisions with the fouls and stuff, but the two big VAR moments, or the two big moments in the game, it gave a penalty to us, and then it denied them a penalty and actually booked the boy for diving. So I was like, has Brendan really actually got in my mind games with the referee by bigging him up?
Yeah, it kind of felt that way a little bit. And I say a little bit because the rest of the game, even before then, all the 50-50 challenges, but nothing was going our way. It was there's a term for it, or a word that somebody used before, and I can't get it at the tip of my tongue, but it's designed how they're doing this. This is not subconscious bias playing, and they're sneaky about this shit. There was a lot of disrupting our play as much as they can. And then, as we said earlier, the penalty they had to give to us, there was that moment of, how can I get out of this? Fuck, I can't. I need to give this one. And when it comes to the dive, and that is what it is, look how many times Silva had dived previous to that. I think he had 2 in the box previous to that one alone, plus the one in the kind of halfway line where he feigns that he's been hit in the face when he hasn't really. He's a serial diver. We all know it. I mean, even there's videos people got on social media now where you can see their fans behind Silver when he goes down for that one. And
And
even
like,
they're like, get
point
up,
at one,
you
whatever.
cunt," and everything. They know very well that that's his go-to thing. He is a diver. He's a cheat. There's no other way around it. He is a cheat of a footballer. And the VAR got him out of it because, again, it was one of those things where Beaton was like, I can't not at this stage. It's too obvious.
I've been
Like,
called
the
over.
penalty instance go, he has to. And then he's got saved by VAR. And how they've only shown, was it 5 or 6 times from that one image from like the goal line, and then they flipped it to slightly to the side, but no point did they flip it to the opposite end where you'd actually see clear as day. Alistair Johnson takes the ball away. Alistair Johnson's fallen, so his leg, because of gravity, his leg's obviously going to rise up a little bit. But you see, especially from the other angle, you already see Silva going over, and then he flops like a dead fish coming out of water. So I think he theatrically puts that on, and that's exactly what being seen from the other side, because I think he's behind Silva slightly to the left, and that's what he sees is exactly what we all know it was. But he's got away with it because he's able to go there and go, thank God, this contact. Play it 5 times, zoom into that one bit, right? Contact. Go the penalty and rescind that. But we all said at the time, don't we, boys? They've actually rewarded cheating. He's got away with actual cheating and been rewarded for it. How do you go forward from that in the context of refereeing a game and abiding by the rules? How do you go forward when that's now what you've said?
So I think you make good points now. I will come in and out, Jed, and we like the VAR never once showed the contact of the ball.
Yeah.
And like you say, Alistair Johnson's falling back, and your legs are just naturally going to do that. And Neil McCann actually used the word, you can see the contact, you can see it shuddering off his leg. I'm like, shuddering to me, he's like, that's massive contact. There's contact that's minimum contact, but like you say, he's gone down, Jed, and it's Beaton's yards away from it. And for me, people might say green tinted glasses, but for me, he calls it right straight away. Just because it's contact doesn't mean it's a penalty.
I know, I mean, like you say, you do see it in one of the clips where he does get the ball, but this is like in social media afterwards as well. And also, I mean, the day in social media, a lot of Rangers fans was basically calling him out, saying Clement will need to have a word with him because he's going to get himself sent off with all the diving and everything like that. But that's just the type of player he is. He's going to, he'll still do it again. He'll do it again. But we have to be smarter ourselves now and playing these games. Like how you mentioned, you're worried about the officials. So we are going to have to be clever as well. Don't dive in. Don't dive. Yeah. Try and time them out, because there are going to be some decisions between now and the end of the season. So we have to be ready. So we do.
And then we're going to the next talking point, Jed, the next big moment, and I think it was minutes after it where Rangers, well, obviously it gets chopped off, but they equalised, and I think that just showed Beaton right up there, because again, he's yards away for the foul, and then it doesn't get for whatever reason, because again, I'm thinking he's probably thinking I'll get away with this. Does he think Rangers got him score for that attacking phase of play? Probably he can't tell that, but it's one that he probably thought, well, I can let this go. There's a couple of wee interceptions in the score. It'll never get looked on. Obviously, Rangers got the part 15 seconds later. I think Sky have been saying, it was 15 seconds later and all that, but it was still the attacking phase of play. Celtic never once got the ball back, so obviously it impacted it. And for me, again, it's where he went in at the monitor. He's looking at it, and you can just. He's gave it, as much as we say it wasn't a penalty, it's similar type of contact for this foul. So you're in again. Just me thinking, I said the box is Dallas going. You've just gave a penalty for something similar. We can't give this goal because it's as blatant a foul as there ever is, and you were 2 yards away from it, and you've not noticed it.
Well, I can remember that. I can remember that clear as day. I was roaring in the pub at that, saying that's a foul. I mean, typically, as we've all said, 50-50s where we're getting nothing. How the hell is that not a foul? And then, like, when they did say they're going to VAR, I was confident they're going to knock it off. Because you could clearly see it, he got taken out. So he did. So it came to a rescue there. But look, there's plenty of ones that's not came to a rescue. So I think we deserve.
I agree, Jed, and I don't know how you're with it. Like it was mad how just straight away, first replay, you were like, he's got to chop off a cat, and I kind of found it funny. Obviously, it's the action. He does the point and sort of that to where the free kick is, and everybody is cheering. And then it was a wee finger. I quite like that. It's like, no, it's a foul.
Aye.
The fact they had to reconfirm and correct that, and I get that obviously the position of the halfway line, everything misleading some, but the sense of entitlement that they all thought they were getting the goal there, when reality is, as we alluded to earlier on, he's made the call. They've made that call for the penalty. There's no other way but they have to disallow that goal, and you can see it. You can physically see it in him. The distraught of having to do that was unbelievable. Great to see from a bonus kind of sense. But just on the side, I actually just watched another video. Twitter feed of that was a guy in Lint that's usually on Twitter. And he's good getting all the clips of all the kind of the obvious hypocritical kind of moments of VAR and stuff. I kind of blanked it the last couple of days because I was raging about the game yesterday. Do you mind Livingston game last week? Kyogo knee through the back of him. Full on dead leg sort of situation, no penalty. Yeah. Silva's actually in the process of diving, and there's a tap as he's going down, and he's like, oh yeah. We'll take that yellow card away for the obvious diving. We'll give you a penalty. How's that apparently minimal contact? You go through the back of somebody's leg.
And what one did Chris Boyd think was a penalty, and what one wasn't he?
Yeah, well,
he was at the end of the game saying it was a Stonewall penalty, and obviously said Kyle's, wasn't he? But it was mad how again beating you could see it in his face. I think, oh no, I've got to get this one off.
And I mean, I don't know what you guys thought. Why wasn't dressers booked for running in the crowd?
Pass.
What colour was
whether the goal was dropped or not, he went in the crowd, and that is a bookable offence.
Exactly. We've had it might have been this season or last season, but I think it happened to one of our boys that we scored a boy went in the crowd, and they get the goal then got chopped off, but the yellow card still stood because we went into the crowd.
I mean,
because you've still potentially incited the fans to move forward.
They came on.
They were all on. Mad.
And I know we're going to touch on like the bottles and stuff like that later on, but that should have been booked for that.
No, I totally agree, Jed. And then, like say, for me, after that sort of a second goal, also the goal that got chopped off, you're sitting going, oh God, they've got right back in the game very quickly after they got the penalty, but obviously the goal gets chopped off. So you're like, right, we need to weather this wee storm here. And I feel in the main we sort of did. We got back up. We obviously brought on McGregor for Hatate. Yang then came on. Obviously, Bhoys the wind again. Anthony might have been playing a factor. Just running into that wind all the time might have just started taking it a wee bit out of the legs. And it might have just staying there with 10-20 yard burst might have just been a wee bit harder. But obviously, Brungida on. I thought he done really well. A couple of times in nicked in goals and stuff. And like you do weather the storm, but then obviously Rangers run to the 84th minute or something. Seema gets that chance, and it's a wicked. Like Callum McGregor for me plays a horrendous ball in the middle of the park. Yang's kind on. He's got I'll go in enough on Yang on the third goal. I'll give him a wee bit of slack in this. I think Callum McGregor's played a bit of a blind pass. Yang is on his heels a wee bit, but then obviously the ball eventually breaks to Seema Anthony. And it takes a shot, whether the initial shot would go in if it takes no deflections, but it's one of them. How's your luck? It takes a mad deflection. Scales has got to try and block it. Scales can take no blame for there. Joe Hart can take no blame. But you're sitting going, oh no, we could have been 2-0 up at half time, it's now 2-2, and they're right in the ascendancy here.
I think the shot was definitely on target for the deflection. I'm not sure if that's got a clear route to the goal. I'm not 100% sure that Hart would have saved it either. It was a decent shot to begin with. So, yeah, Scales for me, I've said it a few times on here, he's not a starting centre-back for us in most seasons. He is this year because of circumstances. But as much as I would advocate that we need to get a bit out of the squad as soon as we can and kind of see a partnership with Carter Vickers that's actually of an equal to him, the better, whoever that may or may not be. But for that goal specifically, you can't fault Scales. You can't fault Hart at all. That all lies at McGregor. He looks up and he takes a split second to see what's happening around him. He doesn't make that pass. He probably passes it forward or turns a little bit. It was a poor pass. It was
the pass Morelos done last season, wasn't it?
100%.
It was really poor from him, and I can only assume a bit of rustiness, a bit of heat up his own arse sort of thing, no paying attention, he's probably trying to do a simple, clean, easy pass, just to try and build a bit of possession, but no realising it's not the place to do that. It was if this blame being laid is fully at McGregor, unfortunately.
I know, I kind of agree with Anthony there, Jed. Excuse me, but
yeah.
And for me, it's like I was sitting thinking, is maybe McGregor just like you said that there, Anthony? I would try to just maybe get our foot in the ball for a few minutes to kill them a wee bit with being late in the game. One hand, you could argue, just punt it down the line, give or something to chase, but then you could argue we're struggling really to get out. There's a ball just got to come straight back, so maybe that's what McGregor's thinking, Jed, that we'll try and keep hold of the ball for a couple of minutes. It is late in the game. Just try and draw them out and then we'll go again. But it just plays a pass that is very, very unlike him. And maybe that just goes to show how unfit he actually was. And I think maybe, obviously we're speaking with the benefits, but maybe Rodgers just would have been better bringing someone else on. But I think obviously due to the occasion he thought, I'll bring McGregor on and maybe can just pass his way through the game and no deal to running. But the one pass he made was a shocker.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, I can't disagree with anything you've said there, Fanny. I think you're saying it. But I thought Bernardo done well when he came on. I mean, I know he set up the third goal, but I felt he gave us a wee bit of dig back in the midfield because Atati obviously was tiring as well, so he got taken off. But look, McGregor has done a few, like for years he has done that as odd wee silly wee thing. It's just unfortunate when it's that sort of game. It's just amplified more, isn't it? It's just it's just so costly for us from getting 1 point where it should have been 3 points. I mean, I suppose if you could say in the future, we probably booted it right at the park, and he just cleared these lines. But look, he thought he was trying to keep possession, and look, it happened. But they still had the chance to get rid of it as well. Yang should have slowed the boy down, but he didn't. You let him get back on his strong foot, and then bang, it was in. And the Hearts getting nowhere near that.
Nah. But obviously Rangers scored the second goal there, Anthony, and you're like, well, we're still, I think it was 5 minutes at the time, and whatever injury time, which was always going to be at least 5 anyway. So you're like, well, for me anyway, what I was thinking was like, we're going to have to hang on for the last wee while of this game and just get out of here with a draw. But as luck would have it, Bernardo, who Jed was just talking about, he finds himself in a good bit of space. I think it's Taylor that picks him out up the line, and he runs with the ball into the space, and either fair play to the guy makes a nice run, Bernardo makes a great pass, and it's literally minutes after they've scored. We've went up the park and made it 3-2. Maybe Jack Butland could do better, but I think he takes the ball and well, gets out his feet, and it's a great strike for the guy who's maybe comes under some criticism being Norwich's third choice striker, but that's 6 goals now and 2 assists in 11 games for a lone player. I think
some big goals for us, by the way.
And it's exactly that, Jed. And when that went in, obviously you're like, oh wow, we've just, I wouldn't class it as smash and grab, but you're not, maybe on the second half gone, we've just done this. And certainly what I was thinking anyway, Anthony's like, if we hold out here, that is it's obvious to say it's massive, but I think for the psyche, because their tails are right up, and then we just got the park, and for me it was a great finish for the big one.
It was, and again, I've been on this podcast all 2024 saying that we need to do better than that, Adamida, and that he's no Celtic quality overall. But he's definitely a player that Rodgers likes, and he's definitely a player that if we do go on to win this league, he has played a vital part in it. So all credit where it's due. The boys delivered when he's needed to. Sure. What do you say? It was 6 goals. 2 of them were penalties.
Motherwell game as well.
They've won his games. They've won his points. He has single-handedly at least got us 4 points so far, if not probably 7 points. I still don't think we should sign him. I know that's a conversation we'll probably get on soon. But for big games like yesterday, they lacked in himself. Absolutely proud. He took his shot superbly well. The run and the pass from Bernardo is something that we've seen quite a few times from Bernardo. He just needs to do that a lot more often. Doesn't need to always be a goal, but I want to see Bernardo do that, 4 or 5 times in a game. At least one of them will be a goal. But Adamida he's definitely proven that he was, against my judgment at the first, he's definitely proved that he's been a good acquisition for this, even for the short spell of time for a loan deal.
By the way, guys, I thought Taylor had a great game.
Yeah, I thought
because on Friday night, I put on the comments. I was watching on Friday night, and I says we don't need to worry about Taylor. I just had a wee feeling. His experience there as well. I thought he had a good game, and you could see him like the thing at the end of the game with Campbell. I mean, Taylor was right in to protect to help his player. I thought Taylor had a decent game yesterday.
I thought a lot of them had Carter Vickers. You just see what he does to that defence. He's just so calming. Alistair Johnson obviously gets booked early, and I wouldn't say he had a poor game, but he's got to watch what he's doing, and obviously gives away that penalty. That's probably got to play in his head.
I thought he was going to get sent off.
Aye, so that. And obviously, like I say, Carter Vickers gets booked early, but he's still diving into challenges. Taylor, was good. Hatate, for me, just shows his class in his games. O'Reilly, I thought, once he's back to his best, but he played well. I think in the first half played good. But I thought many of them did play good. What about yourself, Anthony?
Overall, you mean?
Aye, just the players. Overall the players in the day.
Yeah.
Delaying talking about this third goal because I just keep thinking of Yang in it, and I can't. It's worse to think about it.
That's what I was like. Are we wrapping this up? Again, it's the first half thing. Everybody was brilliant. Even Maeda, who I said earlier, I don't think he's a great footballer, but he played a great game, as he always does in these big games, and especially against Tavernier. The whole team played well. Kaigo was a bit quiet for my liking. He didn't influence the game too much. I think Adamida coming on was a bit of a difference, although the game changed from what we wanted it to be. But second half, we needed some people to step up, and some people just didn't. And one of them you want to see is Cal McGregor, but as you said earlier, he probably wasn't fit enough. And to be honest, if he wasn't fit enough to start the game, he probably shouldn't have played at all. If he wasn't good enough to play at least 60 minutes, pulling him on for half an hour was probably not a wise option. It wasn't great. But overall, I think most players probably get good pass marks overall. There's some performances, I mean, as you say, you really don't want to get onto that third goal and talk about it. But I think there's elements even in that third goal with Yang. And if I had to take it back, Alison Johnson doesn't get pass marks for that third goal actually as well. Now that I'm thinking it back. This standoff too much on that right side because of what's happened early in the game with the referee. How they've made us timid on that side, which has allowed them to do all their work down the right side. Even Silva, when he's diving for that penalty, is coming from that side. Everything is happening down that way because they know that we're a red card waiting to happen as such. And I think that played a part in the third goal where I think it's Alistair Johnson should be the right back who should be there marking, but he kind of loses his player. But at that point where he loses his player who goes out wide, he's kind of in the box, so he kind of holds his ground, thinking, right, there's two other people over there marking him. I'll stay here to add the numbers, but he actually doesn't do anything. But then I can't remember who it is, somebody else leaves, and it leaves just Yang. And at that point, Alistair Johnson really needed to step forward and go support Yang, especially Yang's left side, which would have closed off the option for Matondo to make that turn. But he just stays back. He's a passenger at that stage, completely forgets what he's meant to be doing, caught ball watching, whatever you want to call it. Alistair Johnson, for me, is as much to blame for Yang at that goal. And that actually, for me, now makes Alistair Johnson not get pass marks the rest of the game.
I'll need. I'm saying I'll need to watch it back. I probably won't, because I think I've watched the highlights about 3 times, and every just Yang at that goal for me gets worse. But I think it's because I'm focusing properly on what he does or what he doesn't do in that goal, Jed. And like I say, I'll maybe have a wee look at Alistair Johnson and I think it's maybe I trust that what you're saying. Then he probably could shut him down better, but I also feel maybe at that time in the game, players maybe just want to I wouldn't say mark space, but try and preempt where runners might be coming and stuff. So they want to be in a decent area to have a decent start, and he's probably looking out at Yang and stuff and thinking, well, he's got that space covered. And for me, Jed, it's like you touched on it earlier. Show him down the line. If the boy beats you, it could go down the line and whip in a great cross and they score. Fine. If he beats you a wee bit of skill and stuff. If he comes inside and beats you with a wee bit of skill, then sometimes you've got to put your hands up. Like, take nothing away for the strike. The boy has scored an absolute worldie. He couldn't have hurt it any better. Joe Hart had absolutely no chance. But for me, Yang, it gave up for me, Jed. And it's just, every time I see that goal, Yang, and it gets worse and worse for me.
I know. I mean, I've recorded the game, and I've obviously, I think, recorded sports scene as well, but I've not seen it when I came in last night. Some of you went straight to my bed. I was just I had a wee bit more than what I planned to have yesterday, so straight to my bed. So if I don't see it, I don't think about the night because I'm knackered the night. Maybe tomorrow night I maybe sit down and try and watch it. But look, I'm actually trying to take the positives out of the game, rather than negatives, because, like I say, we're disappointed we didn't win the game, but we didn't get beat. And we've all said all night we were taking a draw before the game. So let's build on that. We are going to get better. We've got the players coming back. Yang's been out for, he's not been playing a wee bit. We've got McGregor coming back. Atati's getting stronger. Cara Vickers will be getting stronger. So we're getting the squad back together. Palmer should be back soon as well. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting the next week, because I know we all picked what the team was going to be at the week. I think the only thing we thought McGregor would have started, but I think come the game against St Mirren on Saturday, I think there are potentially going to be a few changes. Maybe either maybe start.
Yeah.
We'll need to wait and see. But look, I'm just trying to just take the positives from the game rather than the negatives. Because if we look at the negatives, we'll start worrying even more.
Aye, no, I totally agree on that. I think you kind of opened up, or certainly it was one of the first things you said, Jed, was the remaining games. Everybody just needs to be behind the team, because there probably will be sticky or tricky moments, call it what you will, in these remaining games of Cup. some of them will be easy, but there will be moments where you like just need to get behind the team and see them through it.
See, a pet hate of mine is every game this season, league game, is shown sold out, and then you have season ticket holders who can't make it. And this is the club need to do what Rangers do, where they can, if fans can't make the game, the club will resell their ticket and they'll get points or whatever. You need to do something like that. But guys and girls who can't make it, give your tickets to someone who's going to go. The players deserve that part to be stadium will be packed out every home game now. We've got to roll them on. We have got to be fully behind the team. And if we do that, the fans will get the players over the line.
Yeah.
But we need to be there. We need to be, again, we've come up with a lot of cliches tonight. We will need to be the 12th man.
Yes. I know, I kind of agree with that that idea with the tickets, Jed. I think they do it down in England as well, where they can resell it. I've heard, like, obviously, I think we've spoke about it before in this podcast, and I could be way wrong, but I think one of the issues is he technically can't make money off it, because obviously they've made their money with selling that seat, but you could just get, it's obviously for yourself, you resell a game what you can't make for whatever reason, and maybe you get X amount of points, and points give you X amount off your season ticket, but obviously you can't get enough points that would give you a free season ticket. It would obviously be only so many games you could give your ticket away, and it would maybe give you, say, £50 or £100 off the following season or whatever.
Give it out off the merchandise.
I do so, because then you're keeping them. You're not losing money, then, are you, essentially?
And plus, if they're selling something at £50, it's not cost the club £50. Probably cost them £20. So there is ways to do it.
Aye, and obviously the pair, like, for argument's sake, if I was to buy your season ticket for a game that you couldn't go, that money could go to the foundation or something. So Celtic's not necessarily making it, and it's just whatever.
As you know, if myself and my daughter can't go to the game, I offer my tickets, and I've never took money off anybody.
No, I know that.
You know,
because maybe Celtic as a club, they could take the money and put it to charity for a way of doing it.
I would rather someone gets the use of my ticket. I hate the idea of my seat no being, you know, it needs to be sat on. So I'd rather give the ticket away so somebody can go, and maybe doesn't get to a lot of games, because let's be honest, not a lot of people to go to take their son or their daughter to the game. It costs a lot of money. So I'm more than happy when I can't go, give the tickets to people, and I'll let them get the chance to go. I mean, I've even, my mate phoned me the day, and he's like that, oh, if Katie's not going to the next Derby game, he wants first shout on it and things like that. Paddy, they're going to be a fucking hell of a lot of queue in front of you, mate.
I know, but we'll just kind of bring it back to yesterday again. And obviously, Anthony, I didn't obviously notice it until I think it was Gavin who put it in the group chat. There was objects being thrown. Obviously, after, I think it was, I don't know if it was your third goal or Rangers' third goal. I can remember the camera spanning to your bench, and obviously there was a bit of police presence there, so you obviously knew something had happened. I'll be honest, I've never ever noticed the bottle of Buckfast getting chucked at Mattarelli, but what do you think? Like, not to try and defend Rangers, but what can they actually do it, apart from ban these fans if they get caught? I mean, this is repeat offences, if you like, from this club. I don't know where you can't deduct them points, because Rangers, I suppose, would argue, but we hire stewards, we hire the police, and it's kind of on them to stop guys getting them in glass bottles, which is, you probably argue is correct, but again, I'm not making excuses for it, but it's why is it happening? But what can Rangers as a club do more? I don't know.
Yeah, they can. Why it's happening is an easy one. It's in the nature and the mentality of that species of human, isn't it? I'll not sit here and pretend that it's an issue that only Rangers fans seem to have. Every club in the land, up and down the whole of Scotland, the whole of the UK, the whole of Europe, the whole of the world, every club has its element of support that will forever be chucking something on a pitch. from celebratory bog roll to coins and bottles and lighters and, big fat chunky AA, AAA, XL batteries and all the rest of it, as Lee Griffiths will attest to it on a flag. This isn't an issue just with Rangers, so I'll caveat everything I'm about to say with that. We have an element in our support that's bad for this as well, no doubt about it. There's videos you can find online if you want to. But it's highlighted so often and regular. And it's even worse, I think, when it's a game where, for the last few years, it's been this way. There's no away fans at Ibrox, and yet every single game, without fail, you'll find something that they've done which is just embarrass themselves, embarrass football fans, and is absolutely idiotic, shameful, and scummy, chucking things at other people while they're just getting on with their daily lives and the business of playing football and whatnot, putting on an entertainment and a show for them. And they're chucking half bottles of Bucky and whatever else it is to John Kennedy in the dugout. It's shocking, absolutely shocking. If it happens once and you don't see it for a couple of years and you see it again, that's something you can say, what else can Rangers do? They hire the stewards, as you say, Franny, they do this, that, and all the rest of it. They do what they can. But see, when it's repeatedly happening, time after time after time after time, you've got an issue with your mentality of your support. So just hiring more stewards isn't going to stop somebody from chucking things, unless you're going to literally have them in a box and an individual steward on each individual fan. You can't stop it. But what might stop it is if we go down the route of saying, well, repeat offenders consistently on a regular basis, start banning sections, start banning the fans. If you can find the fans, ban the fans. If you can't find the fans that you know is coming from this section, close that section. Close the stand. Maybe they'll figure out then that the mentality that they have means that they have to stop doing what they do. They won't, because there's another thing that they keep doing, which is, funnily enough, going to get eventually swept onto the carpet with this whole hate bill that came out. They're going to fall foul of that consistently as well, because that's what they do, and they've been getting away with it all these years. And until we actually tell them, not just tell them that they can't do it, actually physically stop them and say, look, we're going to ban you, they'll just keep doing it. Because there's no repercussion from them. There's nothing stopping them.
And I think that's the issue, Jed. Obviously, there doesn't seem to be any punishment. I'm trying to remember if it was last season or the season before, but I'm sure it was a 2-1 game anyway at Ibrox, where obviously Joe Hart came out for the second half and there was a smash bottle. I think what had happened, obviously the fan had chucked it and it hit the crossbar, which had caused it to smash. But the boys probably trying to do that. It's a fact that nothing seemed to be done about that. And I think on that same game, the physio was struck with an object and I think he got a cut to the head. It's obviously happened in the past. And like Anthony said, there is elements of other fan bases and stuff that have done it. We probably have got an element of it in our own. But again, it seems to be this game. It seems to be at Ibrox, and I think it was a boy B had said it, saying about it's always perceived as an Old Firm issue, but it's always at Rangers. It's always at Ibrox when there's no away fans, so it can only be one set of fans. And I think you make a good point, Anthony. I think the only way I don't think the club can get deducted points yet, but maybe if they shut that section, because obviously the bottle that got through to O'Reilly is at the same end of the park where Joe Hart obviously had the smash bottle in. So you could shut a section of that stand, and I'm sure as hell the fans would start then, because I think it has got to come down a wee bit of self-policing, and I think the fans would then start pointing at they folk up doing that.
That's it. I mean, if you end up saying, right, we're going to close off, that small corner of that stand, so that's you losing maybe 5,000 fans, I would be pretty raging if that was me. And I'm an innocent party member going to the game and enjoying my football club, and I'm getting pumped to it because of some idiots. Yeah, you would start to self-police that. You start calling it out. You would start, it's going to get happening again, but somebody goes, no, you get to. Or point the police in the right direction. And, of course, we don't want to see people grassing each other. But no, when it comes to this stupidity, you do need to point it out. You do need to highlight it. You do need to stop it.
I mean, if that bottle had hit O'Reilly, I mean, the damage that can cause, and by the way, if or when a player does get hot with a bottle, there will definitely be a points deduction. Without a doubt.
It's going to happen.
It's going to. I mean, if you remember, like Anthony said, it's not all the fans, because was it last season, 2 seasons ago, the old enclosure in Rangers in the main stand, a boy tried to go in the park and a fellow supporter seen him and he just grabbed him, hauled him back. So, like I say, there is decent guys who's going to see that and think, wait a minute, what are you doing? I mean, Anthony, I'm glad you mentioned about the batteries, about Lee Griffiths. So they've went with intention of throwing him onto the park.
It was your big, I think it's a C-type battery. You didn't hear them in your mobile phones.
You can understand a football fan taking a wee half bottle with them, on the subway, whatever they like, pretending they're up to, whatever. You can see football fans take a wee half bottle in or can, and you can see football fans try and sneak a flagpole in. That happens. But who in the right mind takes a chunky C battery?
Yeah.
What are you taking that for? What is that for?
I mean, I know the club have, they're already made their feelings very clear in the matter to Police Scotland as well. So the club can't sit back now because, like you say, that I've already had a member of the coaching staff struck before. We have had Neil Lennon attacked at Tynecastle. So the club, we have to do something now. And Rangers has to do something because it's affecting the fan. I mean, let's be honest, about a lot of fans there yesterday who never in a million years would even think about throwing a bottle on. So it's unfair in name as well, but they need to do something or someone is really going to get a bad one.
I think that's the problem, Jed. It feels like action will happen when somebody's actually hurt. I mean, I know obviously you talk about the physio being hurt and stuff, but it feels like it's got to happen to a player on the
close the doors after the horse is bolted. They can't do it now. And
it feels like
Rangers
and stuff
have to come out. Look, they've got, surely, mind you, we said that the last time they couldn't find CCTV for the glass bottle thrown at Hart. So what chance have we got? Now, if I was Celtic, you would just keep it the league saying, no, we're not happy about that. No, you need to do something about it. And it could be you need to close part of the stadium. If that was a European match, you can guarantee the next game would be a good chance. Full stadium closure, not just partial.
I know. So it's mad.
It needs to be done. I mean, idiots. And like Anthony says, every club has them. Every club has them. I've never, thought, I'm going to fling someone on the pitch.
Nah. I know. I could bet, like, I've told this story a couple of times. So I got my season tickets, Jed, when I had them. It was Vara McMillan that I went with at the time, her and my sister. So it was Vara's mum and dad's ticket. We got them. I think it might have been our first Rangers game as season ticket holders. We were going, and she told me a really good story. I mean, it's a good story in the fact that she never got hurt, but where we sat at the time, it was obviously the old allocation. So it was like a couple seats then. It was the Royal Stewards, then the Rangers fans. So you were right next to it all. And Vara's mum one day got hurt with a £1 coin. Thankfully, nothing. Just I think it just brushed off her body and fell down next to her. And she actually picked it up and turned around and was like, "That's gone in the chapel plate tomorrow." So she turned us. What could have been a bad situation, she made a wee bit lighthearted. Obviously, because she wasn't hurt, it made it a wee bit easier. But I can always remember that story who Vara. It was brilliant. But we'll just kind of come to the last bit of the podcast and stuff, and just reflect on what that result means for us, Jed. And I know we have kind of sort of touched it, but obviously the media narrative was Rangers had the momentum, which they maybe did to an extent, but I don't think it was quite the momentum we were all getting made to believe it actually was. But for you, like we say, a day's sort of to sort of reflect on that result. Where do you see that? Like, do you think that's a better result for us or a better result for Rangers?
I think it's a better result for us because if they'd won the game, I think we all said that would be the league over. So it's not, but let's be honest, the press are going to look, Rangers should win on Wednesday night up at Dundee. But well, if they win, you can see the press all bump them up again and everything like that. But we've just got to focus on what we can do. And what we can do is win our games, and that's it. We've taken care of it ourselves. And as I think a few of the comments I've seen getting brought up, this will be a very sweet victory this season. For us winning the league. It would be very, especially when they think, they were going to do it and everything like that. Look, they still could. Let's not kid ourselves. They could. But I do believe that we're going to do. I said it weeks ago. As long as we could come away from Ibrox being no more than 2 points behind, we'll be fine. And I'm sticking to that.
I'm somebody. I think it benefits us simply just because we've got that home game, Anthony. It's that for me plays into our hands. Yes, you can argue both teams have got it in their own hands, which is true. But as we spoke about earlier in the podcast, how Rangers have went a wee while without actually winning a meaningful game. And just if we look at the future, if both teams are winning every game up until that day, yes, Rangers will be 2 points ahead, but they'll know they must. Well, I suppose they would argue they know they need to take something from that game to keep it in their hands, whereas Celtic will probably have the confidence, to win that game, knowing that they know what it takes, knowing that they've got players that have been over the course, won plenty of trophies and stuff, so they know what it takes to go over the line. But where's your head at with that result and how you think it benefits or doesn't benefit us?
Yeah, as we said earlier, psychologically, the fact that they haven't beat us yet this season and haven't beaten us in a meaningful game in quite a few years now, it's advantage us. I would have rather the win 100%, and it's gut wrenching how we lost the lead and didn't get the win at the end, even being 3-2 at that point. It is gut wrenching, and it's not that it feels like a defeat. It just feels like squandered points rather than getting out of dodge with points, with a point, and keeping everything the same and having everything in our advantage. It is a bit gut wrenching. Put that to the side, as we've all said all week, and leading up to it, as Jed said as well, we would have taken a draw, knowing that we go into the next 6 games, and it's completely a psychological advantage of Celtic Rangers games is in our favour. Come to Celtic Park of all places and try and beat us. And as I've said many times over this season now, especially, my only fear for us is the referees and how they officiate the games. I don't think they'll do much against us in the other 5 games. But that game against them, we've seen it yesterday. They will influence it. We just need to make sure we're better than the officials, because we're miles better than that other team. Miles better than them. And we'll do them easily as long as the officiating is reasonably fair. I mean, it's not going to be fair all, is it, to be honest, but if it's reasonably fair, not obviously biased, then we should be fine. I think the league still has. It's in our hands, guys. I'm not. I'm worried. I'm nervous. I'm not brazen about it. I'm not going to say it's wrapped up.
Yes, no.
I've already caught myself out a few months ago with that one. I am nervous, but I'm confident.
I think that's where I'm at. Nervous but confident. Simply, it's a league title. It's a title race that we've not had for a wee while. So I think that's where the nerves come. It's kind of nip and tuck, but we did have an 8-point lead, and that can't be ignored. And we've let that slip, but we've still got it in our hands and stuff. So, it seems certainly online as well. The general consensus is very similar with the draw suits us and stuff. So, onwards and upwards, and like I say, Jed, potentially next week, depending how, again, say Rangers do win midweek, we've got a chance to be top again. So I think it's key that we do put on performances and where we play ahead of them, just get the victory in it. Ask them the question at the end of the day. They go into their game going, we need to win to go back top. So I think just try and just 6 cup finals. We'll say that 6 cup finals. Turn up, we win, and I'll kind of just close the podcast because I am dog, as Ross likes to say, I am dog tired.
I think we're on knack up the night.
I know. But have you enjoyed this one? Has it maybe helped the mood? Because for me yesterday, I just wasn't known. I didn't know where to be with the result and stuff. But is it a wee bit of therapy for you or what?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, guys. If we got beat yesterday, it would have been a very sad show the night. We're all been in black. You know, that it's in our hands. And as Anthony said, I'm confident but nervous. I'm not overly confident. I'm not like, oh, we're definitely going
Yeah.
I do think we're going to do it, but I'm not going to slap it all over social media saying,
it's not nailed on.
No, but it's in our hands. And we've been there and done it before.
Mm-hmm.
It's a title race. It is. We can't deny that. It's a title race. But it's in our hands.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's take away from that. This has been a good podcast, Franny. I'm all over the place internally. I'm raging that we didn't get all 3 points. I'm confident that we've got the team all coming back together. I'm all over the place inside, but good podcasts like this does help get it all out there and think the logical and be a bit more positive going forward. So
by the way, just the rest of the podcast crew, you know, I've helped you out the night again. You know, so I'll be struggling. I definitely can't go on Wednesday and I definitely can't go on Friday.
I'm the same.
Watch it, but I've just got a few things on I need to get done. So in case I'll go a wee bit later.
I know. No, it's all good. It's all good. And as I say, we'll kind of end it there and go for the wee awkward silence. We'll try and make it as short as we can, but somebody needs to do a video here. Good night and God bless.
Cheers, guys.